Okay, so what we're going to do here now is we're going to load the firmware on here so that we can use Ardupilot with this Matek F405 board. The firmware that we need, it's listed right here on our wiring diagram at the top. We need the Matek F405-TE for the Ardupilot setup. So we're going to go right to the Matek website here. Matek, and it's already, Google searched it, so it already pops up for me. Go right to the Matek website, and we're going to select firmwares, and that's going to take us to this page. We want, here's at the top here, it says the Ardupilot. This is beta flight targets. These are iNav targets down below here. We want the plane. We're going to select the Arduplane with BL hex. That is the Ardupilot with the bootloader hex file. We're going to download that. I've already downloaded it. So I'm going to come over to my iNav here and get iNav launched. Okay, close that. We've got iNav launched. I'm going to come over here to click firmware flasher. Up here at the top, we could do this. There's two ways to do this. We can choose our board. We can scroll down to the Matek F405-TE board right there. And then we could choose our firmware right there. That is one option to do this, but I'm not sure. I'm not a pro at this, but I don't think that that is going to give us the -TE version that we want. So that's why we went directly to the Matek website and downloaded the firmware specifically for this board for your Ardupilot. We're going to select load firmware local, and we're going to select that hex file that we downloaded. I'm going to open that, and now the firmware is ready to be loaded. I'm going to take, there is a DFU, what do they call this? A DFU bootloader button right here on the Matek extender. I'm going to press and hold that button while I connect my USB cable to it. And that's going to put it in DFU mode. And you can see that on the screen that it went into DFU mode. So down here, it says flash firmware. We've already loaded it. We're going to click flash firmware. And it's going to go through the erase. And it's going to load our firmware. So now we'll just wait for that firmware to be loaded. Okay, so firmware flash was successful. So now we can disconnect our iNav here. We're not going to need that anymore. Let's see, I'm going to unplug here. And now I'm going to open up Mission Planner. And if you haven't done so, you can download these Mission Planner and iNav ahead of time. Load them onto your computer. So we got Mission Planner up and running here. Now what we've got to do is reconnect our board. And again, I've turned the beeps off just because they are kind of annoying. And it appears that we are going to be on COM 10 here. Actually, I think maybe it's COM 13. Let me disconnect here and refresh this. See what shows up. I guess it is COM 13. I'm going to refresh that. It's COM 13. I'm going to connect. And it's connecting.
Race started. Airspeed 1 knot initializate. Cannot cal.
So
RC short fail safe on.
it's going to give us a bunch of error messages here. And anyway, we're going to go to setup, and we're going to go to mandatory hardware, and we're going to do calibration. Now you're going to notice on your board there is an arrow, and that arrow points the direction that the flight controller needs to be installed in your vehicle. So the arrow forward is nose forward. So that is the forward portion of the board here. That's kind of important to know here, because when we calibrate the board here, you're going to see we're going to have to know the front from the back of this board. So I'm going to click Calibrate Excel, and it's going to say click when done.
Level and press any key.
So we've got it
vehicle level and press
level right now, and I'm going to click it, and now it's going to say please place vehicle on left side. The reason why I'm doing this now is it's much easier to do this calibration now while the chip is not installed in the Bennett. It's much easier to do this now while the chip is easily manipulated. So it says to put it on its left side, so I got it on its left side. Click it. Now we're going to put it on its right side, and the right side is where this wiring is running out. So that's all I did, was grabbed something to elevate it a little bit to give me something level here to work with. And now it says nose down. Again, nose down would be the arrow pointing down. So I'm going to hold that in place right here and click it. Now nose up. So obviously nose up is nose up. Hold it in place here. Actually, I'm going to keep it nice and stable. Click when done. Now put the vehicle on its back. So you can imagine this would be the vehicle on its back here like this. Again, hold that down like that and try not to rock it.
Calibration successful.
So we got a successful calibration there. Next, we're going to calibrate level, and I'm on a nice flat surface here. Click it, and it says complete. And level your autopilot, set default accelerometer scale factors for level flight. So this requires you to place your autopilot flat and level. So we are flat and level right now. Click that. And that's complete. The next steps here are going to be the compass, which we don't have it installed yet. We're going to do that when the compass is installed in the vehicle. Radio calibration, that'll be once we get our Spectrum receiver wired up. Our servo outputs here, again, that'll be after we get the receiver hooked up. ESC calibration we will do ahead of time. We won't be using Ardupilot to calibrate. And then we're going to be setting up our flight modes and our fail-safes. So next part, we're going to go wire up the pins on this Matek board.